Alrighty, welcome to the Friends Insight. I'm Graham.
I'm Emery.
I'm Alex.
Guest starring Alex again, our buddy pal, has decided to come and talk to us. We'll talk with us about the movie Batman Begins. So we have a bunch of series that we're starting to put together. The Virtue series, we have a book series coming up, and then we just thought it would be fun to talk about movies since we're movie lovers, especially comic book movies. Today our topic is going to be Batman Begins. And as I have gone through and watched the movie a little bit, there's just some themes that I have picked up on. And of course, you know that awesome quote, why do we fall? So we learn to pick ourselves back up again. And then there's underlying themes of facing our fears. And it's not who we say we are, but what we do that defines us. As well as, dealing with your past and how it affects your future. So Emery, do you want to kind of start us off with some ideas from that?
Well, especially with it's not who I am under the mask.
Under the mask.
Under the mask, it is what I do that defines me, and that's really powerful. Because, we all have our masks in public. We all have our masks when we're alone, but it's not about the mask. It's about what we do that defines who we are.
Definitely. And I really think what that particular quote means to me is we all have things that we say that we stand for, and whether it's honor and justice, chastity, we all say that we belong to a certain group of people and we have a certain types of ideals.
Definitely.
But it's really what our actions is what defines what we stand for and who we are, and I know that's true. You got to know what you stand for, and then you have to be able to stand up for it. You just can't. You can't be just all words and no action.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's called being a hypocrite. But
being a hypocrite, Alex.
My favorite part, I guess, that you mentioned was facing the fears. A lot of it is just. At the beginning, Bruce Wayne's in jail, just kind of crappy, and he doesn't think that he's afraid at that part. He's just like, he's a broken man. He doesn't care what he does or who he beats up. And then he gets reintroduced to what he's afraid of, which ends up being bats. I think it's just an interesting concept that at that point, he could ignore that to just survive, but it's still there. You always have a fear in the back of your mind, even if you're hiding it.
I really like that. Definitely agree with Alex. I really like the idea of him choosing to be Batman because he's afraid of bats, and he, like you said, Alex, he just kind of embraced his fear, and it let him become a symbol and an icon and that sort of thing. But I really like that idea of just embracing our fears and not letting it stop us from doing the things that are right and the things that we're supposed to be doing. And of course, that awesome quote where Alfred asks Bruce Wayne why he's chose bats to be what he's going to symbolize. And he wants to cause his enemies to inflict the fear that he has and have them feel that fear as well. And, that's just a cool little nerd moment right there. But I really do like that idea, facing our fears and not letting it stop us from doing what is right.
We need to stop talking about what we can take from it and integrate it into real life. Let's talk about the movie.
Alrighty, since you want to do that, you get to start us off with your thoughts.
Best part is the when he makes his first appearance and he's like, "Where are the other troops?" "I don't know. I swear." And he's like, "Swear to me." And I don't think that joke's ever made it into an episode, has it?
I don't think it has.
It's kind of like an inside joke here. We're like, "The swear to me."
Definitely.
Swear to me.
Swear to me. Swear to me. Well, and I really liked because that was our first main scene with Batman interrogating people, and that's kind of how Batman. I think it really portrayed Batman well.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
You definitely got to see some mercy and understanding from Batman. Batman's just an awesome detective. He can read people, and you could tell that he was understanding what the guy knew, and in that sort of situation. And like I said, I think that was a great scene for us to see, just Batman as a super cool character and have that cool moment, but let his detective skills kind of shine a little bit. But I really liked the villain that they chose. They had two different villains. They had the Scarecrow, and then they had Ra's al Ghul. And I really like that idea of, standing up for what you believe in, even with someone as important as, your mentors. Because your mentors have such a great influence on your life, and you look up to them a lot. And what do you do when your icons and your idols stand for something that isn't right? And I really enjoyed seeing Batman gain that courage to stand up for what is right. And like we've talked about, facing our fears. And it's always interesting to when they have villains that tap into those emotions like that. It's always fear, anger, things like that. It always makes the villain a bit more cooler, and it gives them a little bit more power and meaning to us. We're all subject to fear, and knowing that there's a villain that could tap into our fear definitely helps. It brought into perspective to me of facing my fears and what are my fears, and that sort of thing.
I'm kind of biased with this movie. Like Graham said earlier, well, it's my favorite out of the trilogy, mainly because it has my favorite villain.
What are they?
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow's my favorite DC villain. I don't know why. That and Two-Face, which is why the second one is a close second. Well, I like the second one anyways, but that's not what we're talking about.
I must say, Christopher Nolan did an amazing job.
Anyways, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just biased about the movie in general because that's, like Graham said, that fact that there's someone specifically out there targeting your actual basic fear as a human. Your basic instinct is to be not your primary instinct, but one of your basic ones is to fight or flight, survive, be afraid of something. Yeah. And one of the cool scenes for me in that one is when Batman first encounters Jonathan Crane in the apartment when they're trying to burn it down, and it's Batman. You see him for the first time. You know him to go fight people and kick butt, but at that moment he gets smacked in the face with his greatest fear, and he just falls.
Kind of destroyed him a little bit. And when I watch movies, I like to I like to look for the hidden meanings of stuff. I really like movies where the heroes are up against the wall or they're kind of broken, and we can look at those movies and look for the hidden meanings and the little life lessons. And I think my favorite theme from that movie and scene is when Alfred Ra's al Ghul comes to Bruce Wayne's mansion, and he starts to burn it down, and Alfred helps save Batman, and they're escaping from the fire.
What are all those bloody push-ups for?
You can't even live the blood on. I love that quote, especially with me being a fitness guy. That's super awesome. But I love it when they're going down the elevator to the Batcave, and Bruce Wayne is really sad and upset that he's destroyed what he thought was to be the last of his father's name and his mansion, and just not being able to stop the bad guys. And I love it when Batman reminds him of what his father told him earlier when he fell down into that well, and that kind of starts off the motive and the mindset behind it. But anyways, and when he says, why do we fall? And we fall so that we can learn to pick ourselves back up. And I think it's definitely important to learn that we're all prone to making mistakes, and we're supposed to make mistakes because we learn how to pick ourselves up. We learn life lessons. We learn how to become a better person because we made those mistakes. And that was always a really meaningful scene to me, knowing, just helping put that into perspective, that we're all making mistakes, we're all human, and we all need to, it's just a way of life, and we all can just learn and glean life lessons from those moments.
Who did the soundtrack?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh.
Hans Zimmer is arguably one of the greatest soundtrack composers of all time. I don't know. It's
For
just,
me, he's up there with John Williams. Because, John Williams did the whole Star Wars stuff. And
definitely.
he did the Superman one. I think. He also did the soundtrack to E.T., Indiana Jones. But Hans Zimmer, such an amazing musical composer.
Well, I think the reason why a lot of people like Hans Zimmer so much, and why he's become so successful, is because he knows how to look at a scene and just find a motif, a little theme in the music.
It's a musical phrase that is usually with like an expression of
character or something that's happening in that particular scene, and he always figures out how to make it emotional or inspirational. I think that's what's most meaningful to us as humans, is we all have emotions and we all feel those emotions, and finding ways for us to help feel that emotions and know that other people are feeling that emotions and we're not alone helps us gain that motivation and that inspiration that he also uses in his music to help us to rise and to pick ourselves back up.
We're starting to get off course here. We need to go back to Batman.
We're talking about Batman.
But, well, since we were talking about Batman, what do you think about Robert Pattinson's Batman?
Alex, what are your thoughts on the Robert Pattinson Batman?
I'm gonna get the quote backwards because I watched the trailer in forever. But my favorite part of the trailer is one of the quotes that I don't know a whole lot about Batman. I don't know a whole lot about anything. I may think I do, but I don't know a lot. But one of my favorite quotes that I've heard from Batman is, I am vengeance, I am the night, or I am night, I am the night, I am vengeance. I'm getting that backwards, but
he said one of them right.
Yeah, he says, I am vengeance. Yeah. But I'm hoping for the second trailer that says the whole line. Fun fact about that, all of the Bat family members, all the Robins, all the Nightwings, every single one of them except for Jason Todd have said it with a straight face, but since Jason Todd kills people, he hasn't. He'd never said it with a straight face.
Interesting. And I'm super excited for the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Definitely.
Well, just because it looks like it's going to actually be Batman. Yeah. And I love how they kind of hinted that in the movie title. They don't just call it Batman, they call it The Batman. And, watching the trailer, they didn't show us it too much, but it definitely...
enough to get you
excited and to show you that this is going to be what Batman as a character kind of is, this dark and broody and just vengeance-filled and just in the night and, all those things that we've talked about, and it's just going to kind of fit into that one movie, and I'm super excited for it.
And one of my favorite parts from the trailer is where he goes, "If you are justice, why do you lie?"
And why do you like that so much?
I don't know. It just hit me on a personal, if you are justice, please don't lie.
Well, and I think that's because justice is supposed to stand for honor and integrity.
Yeah.
And
lying is the opposite.
Lying is the complete opposite of it. And there's many instances, like local governments or just people in general that proclaim themselves to be justice and to be doing those things. And we as all people are just going to make mistakes like we talked about and kind of back out on that. But I think that's the reason why it kind of hits us so much, is because because there's so many, so much of those paradoxes that we can find in society.
The song they chose for the trailer was a very good choice.
Why is that?
It just fits.
Well, I think the reason why it fits so well, first off, it's got that brooding, dark tone. But if you look at the lyrics...
It's Underneath the Bridge by Nirvana, right?
Yeah, it's Something in the Way by Nirvana. But the lyrics fit perfectly with Batman overall as a character. Underneath the bridge, spark has sprung a leak, and all the animals I've catch, symbolizing villains, they've all become my pets. They're just things that he has to deal with, and that he's the something in the way of the villains taking over Gotham. Batman is the only thing in the way of villains
Ruling
not
Gotham.
yes, thank you, ruling Gotham. And I think that's really cool that they were able to find a song that hit that broody and dark level, but also the lyrics matched the character's life a little bit. But
Well, and then I don't remember whose Batman had the nipples.
I don't remember.
Was it Michael Keaton's?
I think so.
Yeah.
Alex's face.
that's
Alex's face says it all.
You're not
Like
aware
I said,
of the
I haven't-
Batman nipples?
I haven't watched I really need to, but I haven't watched a lot of DC movies. The only ones I have watched pretty much is the Dark Knight trilogy. So, and I think I've seen one. What's the other one? I've seen one other.
Older Batmans.
It was an older one. Let's see if I can find it.
But trying to bring it back to Batman Begins a little bit. I think the reason why Christopher Nolan did so well.
Michael Keaton's.
I think the reason why Christopher Nolan did so well was because, like going back to Hans Zimmer and the idea of having an inspirational character that rises out of the dust and just defeats all the odds. I think that's a symbol and a hero that we're all looking for in our lives. I know that we all are going through rough moments at time, and we kind of feel in the dust, and we don't understand why we're falling. And it really helps us to know that we're not alone in the struggles that we have, and to also have a character who shows us how we can react and handle these situations that we're in are super awesome. And I love what Christopher Nolan did with the character in that movie, but then also the other movies within that trilogy. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But awesome. I think that'll wrap up the episode this time. Thank you for listening in.
If you liked it, hit the like button. If you disliked it,
I found out what it was. It was
What?
Batman Returns. I've seen Batman Returns.
Oh, okay.
Batman Returns.
Anyway, if you liked today's podcast, hit that like button. If you disliked it, hit that dislike. We'd like to see your opinions in the comments below. And if you really enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. We'll see you next time.
And don't forget, be good, do more, and cultivate happiness. Peace.